So I love this second dimension, this high low. And so you use these fun metaphors of genies and golems, where you had originally in the better version of politics, you had people arguing for their version in terms of facts and, and policies, and then the other people on the other side. But then, unfortunately, we've gotten now brought down a couple of levels where it's become more tribalistic and less reasoning. And you characterize essentially like the golem on each side as, unfortunately, so certainly, and I'm going to say on the Republican side, like the nastier, more unreasoning elements have taken hold of the party with the rise of Trump. But then you say that there is a version on the other side too, and you referenced it a little bit when you talked about what's going on campuses.
Yeah, I think that it's not that politics should be people being nice and agreeing. Like when I think of high rung politics, it's heated, it's passionate, right? There's people protesting. There's vigorous debate. They might not like each other, but they're in the end they're fighting about ideas, and the underlying thing that unites everyone up there, whether they disagree or agree, is this common goal of a better country. And it's like two lawyers in a courtroom. Their clash moves the country forward, right? It's like this positive sum game. When you go to the low rung politics, which I sometimes like to call political Disney World, because it's Disney, it's the land of good guys and evil villains, right? And it's the mindset is not let's make a better country together, even though that's what maybe people think it is. That's not what's going on. It's let's defeat the bad guys. We're the good, right? We're perfectly righteous. We have no flaws, and they're evil and demonic. And let's defeat the bad guys. And if only we had it our way, the country would be perfect. But they're whatever. It's this very us versus them concept. That's a zero-sum game that moves the country backwards. When their clash hurts the whole country, while the clash on high-rung politics pushes the country forward. Exactly. So they're both clashes. Again, these are both heated. There's a subtle difference sometimes. But one is arguing about ideas, and they're experimenting, and it's not like an ethnic tension like type thing. It's not like a evil and good. It's like we're all here trying to do the same thing. I think you're wrong, but let's discuss it. And at the bottom, it's this war of not ideas, but it's a war of peoples. It gets into the same kind of thing that creates religious wars.
Zealots versus zealots, making it get very, very dangerous. Very
fast. And by the way, when you're in that environment, you feel a lot of pressure from your own side.
Yeah.
To any kind of legitimizing the other side, you'll feel it from your own side. It's each side kind of bullies themselves into staying that way.
There's a lot of conformity pressure. So how did the golems take control? And you write about this in the book, where like there were different processes where like that you had the right-wing golem kind of rise to power. I think Gingrich had a lot to do with it.
Well, so yeah, I use the term golem for it's like the emergent property of like low-rung political group. Like it's an echo chamber, which is a bunch of people, right, who are scared to disagree with each other. But there's an emergent thing there, which I think of as like this big, dumb giant that I call a golem that like runs, tramps like Godzilla through society. A liberal democracy is always going to have golems. It's always going to have these kind of political tribes or religious tribes or whatever. And the thing that makes a liberal democracy special isn't that it gets rid of these. It's that it has an immune system to keep them from taking over. And what's happened, I think, in the last few decades, but especially in most recent decades, maybe due to social media and a few other things, people have gotten too very, very scared of these golems. They've become scarier, and that has turned into the people standing up for liberal values and going quiet. And that's the immune system failing. That's in a bit, when you scale up a bunch of scared individuals, you get in a mass scale, you get this immune system failing, and these golems kind of like Godzilla tramping through society in a way that they really couldn't do in the older days. This is pretty new.